What do I draw? I like drawing. I want to learn drawing. I am learning drawing. But when I sit in front of my paper to draw something, I don't have any ideas to draw. What should I do? How do I know what to draw? Well, we don't know what to draw because we're asking the wrong question. And if we ask the right question, we'll know what to draw. And that's what I want to explore in this episode of the thing that we're doing. All right, so this is like a very common thing that people have in this particular space, right? They want to draw, but they don't know what to draw. And the very thing is, how do I go out and find ideas and things that I can draw, basically? And there are very superficial ways of going about this. One is like getting a prompt list, getting an idea list, getting a list of things to do from other people, getting other artists to tell you what you need to draw or what you should draw. And that's not a bad place to start, in my opinion. If you don't know what to draw or don't have anything to say, and that is actually one of the fundamental issues of this particular problem that we're trying to tackle here, it is fine for you to actually look for superficial things so that you can get started and go somewhere. That is the first place that you can start. But what we want to do here in this particular thing that we're doing is, I want to explore this problem in depth, in detail, and solve it so that we know once and for all why we don't know what to draw and what can we do about it. And here's the solution, or here's what I think is the solution. Again, I'm exploring this thing right here. I'm not explaining things to you. This is not advice to you. This is basically me trying to solve this problem for myself. I have solved it, but I want to really clarify the things that I think about this particular problem. So here's the thing. We are asking the wrong question. What do I draw? What should I draw? How do I know what I should draw? These are all wrong questions. Asking like, what do I draw is akin to asking, what do I want to do with my life? It's very vague. It's very unspecific. See, the lizard agrees with me. And, it's just everywhere. And when you ask a vague question, you get vague answers. And I like one of these things from Tim Ferriss. He often says, the key to a good answer is a good question. So if you want a good answer, you need to ask better questions. So here's a better question that we can actually ask. Why do I draw? What is the purpose of my drawing practice? Practice as in not like practicing drawing, but people often refer to the thing that they do collectively, drawing and making art and doing this artistic thing as a practice, as a discipline, right? So why do I do what I'm doing? What is the purpose of my drawing practice? So when I was starting to draw, all right, I want to go into a little story and see sort of where this thing goes, right? To prove an analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it. I've been drawing ever since I was a kid, but it was only approximately a decade ago when I started drawing somewhat deliberately. I started practicing things and I wanted to become an artist. I don't know what that even meant back then. I don't think I do know now as well. I don't know what's going on, but to some extent. Anyways, when I was starting out, I didn't know what to draw. And I was trying to see like, okay, what should I draw? Oh, wait, I'll go ahead and look at all the other artists who are doing these projects that they are interested in. I'll probably, start doing that. And you'll be hearing some background noises, by the way, just don't, mind that. But anyways, I would sort of imitate in order to sort of find a footing in this world. And that is a fantastic way to go about things. When you don't know, imitate. Imitate to sort of get a feel for the thing rather than, here's the thing that you don't want to do, just sit and think about doing things. That's like the worst way to find out stuff. 0 times in humanity where things were just simply found here. It was done through doing. Maybe, I could be wrong. I think all those enlightened gurus would disagree with me. They would sit in caves for years and meditate and find out stuff. But, at least I don't think that has ever worked for me. Like sitting things and figuring things out. So when I was starting out, I didn't know what to draw. I was trying to find out stuff and, I couldn't find anything. And And what I would do is I would just go and imitate other people's projects and illustrations and artworks. I would create my own version of it and to see what's going on. What should I do? And that's a great way. You're finding your own voice by imitating the voice of other people, right? There's a fantastic quote by Francis Ford Coppola, like the director. He says, like, at the start, you don't have a voice. You imitate us and you will sort of get your own voice eventually, and you'll find out. I'm sort of paraphrasing right here, but that is a point. But over time, what happened was I ran out of stuff that I can sort of take from other people to understand and to imitate, to study. It's like, it's the same thing that this guy did. I don't know what I'm doing. I've done this, I've done that. It's just getting boring. I was like, okay, how can I solve this problem? There's this fundamental problem. How can I solve this? Well, you start with the core, right? The earth has a core, right? It's got a core in the center. That's what makes this planet, actually. Like that, every practice and every discipline has a core purpose. There is a need for that existence of that particular thing, right? There's a popular book, Start with Why. I was like, I'm going to start with why. Why am I drawing? And then it came out that I was drawing because when I was a kid, I saw these really cool animated films and movies and cartoons, and I was really inspired by them. And then I was like, I want to do that. And that's what I was drawing. But that answer seemed very vague. I was like, let's dig deeper. Why do I draw? I was like, okay, I really like the stories that I see in that particular thing. There is something to those things that really excites me, and I want to sort of imitate that emotion. I was like, okay, that is a better answer than the previous one. Okay, let's keep going. Why? Then it seemed like I really like stories, and I really like what stories do to us as human beings. There is something deep within stories and characters and things and the way things goes that does something to your brain that I really loved, right? And I really loved that thing being told through the medium of animation and drawing and illustrations. I was like, okay, that is a very good answer. And I was like, no, we're not stopping here. Let's go even deeper. And this, by the way, was not something that happened in a single day or a month or a year. It was years of process of constantly asking why and doing things and asking why. Now I have much better clarity, but back then I didn't. And then I asked that one more layer of why, and it seemed like I don't want to just do things to simply pleasure myself, excite myself. You know, at the end of the day, art is something that most people do for like personal fulfillment. You know, it's pleasurable to do art, right? That's why like you see all these people who do very outward oriented things in the world, like business and you know, maths and physics, and then they go paint on the side. Like Winston Churchill, like the politician, he paints on the side. It's like a personal thing, right? And I was like, I don't want to do art just for myself. It seemed very, it didn't feel nice, right? I was like, okay, why do I do this? Oh, wait. You know those comics and movies and animations, what they did to me and that moves me? That's what I want to do. I want to organize my thoughts and my being and my stuff. I want to make myself a better person through art. By making art, by exploring stories that enhances the individual, and then, you know, just make better art, right? And I was like, okay, wait, no, enhances the individual through art. And that was a why. I was like, great purpose, lovely, right? And then all of a sudden started getting ideas. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make a little drawing on that particular thing of that person doing this particular thing in the moment. And then I want to do a series of illustrations. Oh, I did this. I was like, I took all the inspiring quotes of people that I really liked and drew faces of them and then drew their quotes underneath to remind myself of these things. It was like a nice series of drawings that I did as a result of that little experiment. I was not good at drawing back then, so the drawings were not that great, but from that purpose came the idea. So here's what I learned. You need a purpose for your drawing practice or discipline, and it does not have to be perfect. You can sort of find it, or no, you don't have to actually find it. You actually define it. As in, if you don't feel like you have this deep inherent purpose with deep experiences in the past, screw that thing, right? Name something right now that you remotely like and go into it. And through that, you will get that butterfly feelings that you're looking for when you actually find, quote unquote, a purpose. And to be honest, that's not a good judge of purpose. Purpose is something that actually and always exists, regardless of how you feel. And that's the thing that differentiates purpose versus passion. Passion comes and goes. Purpose doesn't. And that's why I love purpose, right? So from this whole experiment, I learned that, okay, not only I want to do art or make art to pleasure myself. That was one of the things. I found art to be pleasurable. To explore things that I want to understand, which was the second thing, which I see art as an exploration of people going into the unknown. Look at the question that you yourself are asking. What do I draw? You're basically saying, I don't know, and I want to know. So it's like art is going into the unknown and making the unknown known, right? And that's how I see art as. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to explain stuff through my art. I'm going to explore stuff through my art. So from this came this somewhat of a collection of ideas that formed my purpose. And from that purpose comes the ideas for my drawing. Now, how do you make this more practical, right? Like, gosh, I don't know, man. I don't get it. Got to make this more practical. No. How do you do it? Well, a modern example of me sort of fulfilling that purpose of me making art is the comic book collection that I'm doing, which is Spirited Tales, a collection of comics to inspire oneself. And it's all these short comics on quotes and poems and stories that I really love that I've turned into comics that inspires other people. And one of the comics have been turned into an animated film. That's another part of my purpose. My end goal right there is like make feature films, right? That's the goal. And I'm slowly but surely moving towards that goal step by step by step by step, right? And it takes a lot of commitment to do that over a long period of time. And a lot of times you'll actually feel lost. And that's why I sort of like purpose over passion much better. I want to sort of do a little video or a podcast on that, which is like passion is overrated as heck. And it's not the end all be all. But that's for another day. So anyways, now, how do you make this practical? Well, define your purpose right now. It doesn't have to be too perfect. And that's the thing with purpose. Purpose evolves. Purpose changes as we go and depends on time. My purpose right now is to record this video, right? And, once this video is done, my purpose then would be to probably eat lunch so that I don't die. I don't think I'll die, but you get the idea. Purpose changes according to time, need, and necessity, and it's fine. And your overarching purpose, which often changes less often, can also change and be updated over a long period of time. So you don't have to feel the need to find and have an imperfect purpose. It's all a myth. Don't believe in that. Don't believe that stuff, right? Like define something, 2 or 3 words. Why do I draw? Maybe I like doing it. Great. Fantastic. 2, like I really like the kind of art these folks make, and that's something that excites me, and I want to do more stuff like that. Great. And then what you do is you ask 4 or 5 whys. That's a fantastic exercise that people actually often, recommend, which is ask 5 whys. Meaning, if someone says, I like drawing because, it's fun, you ask why. That's the first why. And then it's fun because, it makes me feel good on the inside. Great. Why? Because it actually, puts life's problems at bay and it makes me feel good. Okay. Why? Because I don't have a very particular productive way to handle my life's problems. Like, why? Because I need to sit down and think and, articulate things and solve my life's problems. Great. I don't think you should be drawing right now. You should be going and solving your life's problems. But at least you know what true things are, right? Like, why do you do things, in general? And the 5 whys is a great exercise. Now I'm discouraging you to draw, but I'm just giving you an example. It can be like, hey, I like drawing because, I got inspired, or, I'm channeling all my problems onto the page and trying to find the answer on the freaking page, right? It can be that too. So ask the 5 whys in order to gain somewhat of an idea of your purpose of drawing things. I'll give you another example so that you have more examples. Jake Parker, who is an artist I really admire and respect, and I've seen one of his videos, the manifesto on why he draws. And one of the things is like he has certain personal ethos or philosophies and, ideas and stories. And he draws and makes comics and illustrations because he wants to bring those ideas onto the books. And I've even asked him once, it's like, why do you draw? And what would make things more meaningful? And he said, when I turn 70 years old or 80 years old, or when I'm gone and dead, I'd like my grandkids to find a box of drawings and comics that I've made on the attic and make them feel really good. It's like, wow, that's lovely. That's a purpose right there. There's no right or wrong purpose. You just find your thing, right? And don't allow others to like judge why you do what you do. I mean, you can't. I mean, fine. You know what? They will judge. Just don't care about it. That's the thing. So that is the first practical thing. The next thing that I'd like to actually sort of end this whole thing with is this. Now that you know your purpose, what project or practice can I start doing in order to act on this purpose? That's a good question right there. A project is a one-time thing, a thing that you do that has a start and an end. Once you do that, it's done. Tata, bye-bye, right? A practice is something that you do on a continual basis. It's not the practice that we know in a typical sense, which is like, I am practicing something to get better at that. That is one way of using that word, practice, from the English language. I think I'm becoming an English teacher right now, just kidding. But practice, like I told you, right? It's a container for the thing that you do. So what kind of practice that you want to do on a continual basis that necessarily does not have an end? Here's an example, a project that I'm personally doing. Spirited Tales, a collection of 10 comics that are anywhere from like 10 to 15 pages on average, or 10 pages on average. And that collects, it's a project. What is the quote? Stories to move your spirit. That is the thing. I forgot my own tagline. But that is the whole idea behind that particular collection of comics. That is a project right there. A good example of a practice would be me waking up and doing 10 minutes of drawing on something, some random thing, or drawing in my sketchbook because I want to sort of explore, find something new, like fall into the randomness of things and find a cute doodle here and there that I'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. Oh, that's a great drawing. Or it can be something like, I'm practicing hands today. I'm going to be drawing some hands, something like that. Or I'm going to be practicing chibi heads today. I'm going to be doing that. That is a practice, right? Practice is something continual. Or your practice can be something else. Like your practice is draw a daily comic strip. It can be that, right? So it changes from person to person. So you want a project-based thing and a practice-based thing, or you can just have one or the other. It doesn't matter, right? So once you have something, once you say, I'm going to do a project on Alice in Wonderland, right? You're going to take the stories of Alice in Wonderland and turn it into an illustration series. All of a sudden you get ideas. Great. You open up your sketchbook, you'll be like, okay, I need to know how I draw that magic cat. Here are 5 different ways I can draw that magic cat. Oh, how do I explore the look of Alice? Oh, does she have golden hair or brown hair? Like how do I draw that hair? What kind of hairstyle? Curly or wavy? You get different drawing ideas. And that is what you want. You want something to exist, and all of a sudden, ideas start to flow into your head, but it all starts with a purpose. That is what you need. So, in order to know what to draw, you need to know why you're drawing things. And once you know why, or once you not know why, once you define your why, ideas will come to you. And I'll end this thing with this one little thing. You don't have drawing ideas because you don't have anything to say. Meaning, there are things in you that can be said. Art is the medium through which artists use in order to say stuff to the world, or at least explore things, because they don't know everything. And they're using art as a way to explore and understand that particular thing. So if you don't have ideas, you don't have anything to say, nor you're interested in exploring something that you'd like to know more of. So either explain or explore. If you do those two things, you'll know what to draw. So that's it for this thing, folks. Hope this helps. Bye-bye.